Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about, is anything real anymore in Hollywood? Like seriously, is it? Because I have a theory. Couple of years now, maybe 50, 100 years from now, when they can really nail a convincing CGI looking human, like body and face, there'll be no need for like celebrities to like make movies and TV shows no more. They'll just be in the audio booth and everything, recording their lines like it's some type of cartoon or something. Cause seriously, everything in Hollywood, mainly movies, is fake. Like nothing's really real anymore. It's very odd because you would think the technology would get better, and sometimes it has, but in other times it literally just hasn't. And it's so jarring and everything. Like all these I can't even talk today. Big blockbuster like movies and TV shows, their backgrounds are just green and blue screens and stuff. They no longer have like practical set pieces. And some of these things you look at, you think, oh, that must be real. But like, oh no, wait, you're not in the actual city? You're not actually outside? Like, where are you at? And it's nothing but a green screen and everything. And I get sometimes like you have to have that illusion for whatever mystical, magical place you're in. That's fine. But you can still like, use a real like outdoors like environment. You know what I'm saying? And add some like columns and pillars that look magical and stuff. Not everything has to be CGI goopity goop. And and with the newer Star Wars TV series on like Disney Plus, they do that all on a sound stage. Like The Mandalorian, boy, I was shocked and amazed to find out they're in a studio. They're not outside. It's all like some kind of newer, updated green screen type thing where they can like shoot in real time and certain things and edit it out. And so you be there and it's like filming in the background. They did that with Thor, but it didn't work with Thor. And it's just like, wow, I had no idea and everything. And I remember like, oh, all these pictures I'm adding here just gonna be random. I don't feel like editing this video. I just feel like mushing crap together, you know what I'm saying? But like, I remember like even superheroes nowadays. I remember when Green Lantern came out. It was one of the most atrocious looking like CGI goopty goops people ever seen because the suits were all CGI. And because of that, people started going practical. But then they're all like, maybe we can fix that. And that's what you're supposed to do with technology. You're supposed to update it, you're supposed to fix it to make it look better. But now they're going crazy with it. Now everything in a superhero movie is pretty much fake. If you see like a jet like flying around, something like that, even if it's like a superhero jet or just a regular military jet, it's all CGI. And like, now with the suits and everything, they don't even really use practical suits no more. Like I was very, 'cause I remember when I watched Captain America Civil War and I saw Spider-Man's suit. I'm like, wow, that suit looks great. And I'm like, wow, it's like the mask part is moving like from the mask to like the head part to the neck. It moves very interesting. I'm like, what kind of material are they using? Like it's really stretchy. I'm like, wow, they really improved on the Spider-Man practical suits. That way they can move more like, spandexy and flexible. But then I found out the hidden truth. It was all CGI. Like Tom Holland wore a practical Spider-Man suit, and when you look at it, yeah, you can tell it's practical, all right. But then they went over the entire suit with CGI to make it flow more fluently. And then when you go to other movies and when they're lit certain ways, yeah, you can tell like it's coming out of a video game and everything. Same thing with Moon Knight. There is an actual practical suit that he never wears. And it's all CGI goopity goop. That's why it moves so like weird. The same thing with General Zod in Man of Steel. I thought for sure that dude was wearing a practical suit. Nope, it's all CGI goopity goop. And now Dr. Fate in the Black Adam movie, Pierce Brosnan wears an entire CGI suit. He wore a motion cap suit and they put it on him. Now, sometimes when you look at that, it looks pretty real and sometimes it doesn't. The helmet totally looks fake and everything, but there's no helmet. And not only that, but it's the same thing with helmets. Like Hawkman's helmet, Thor and Jane's helmet in Thor Love and Thunder. It's all CGI goopy dee goop. And in Thor Love and Thunder, my God, the CGI was off everywhere, especially in the helmets and stuff. That helmet looked ridiculous on him, which is probably they did on purpose because you know Taika how goofy he is, but still it looks terrible. And in the MCU, when a person's supposed to wear like a headpiece or a helmet, it's always CGI goopity goop. Hela, she wore a fake helmet. Loki wore a fake helmet. Everybody's now helmet or mask or suit or whatever comes on them in that nanotech type way to where now people now in superhero movies you don't see nobody suiting up no more. Like you don't ever see nobody take off their regular clothes, putting on their superhero suit underneath. You don't see that no more because now it just all comes in digitally like with like nanotech and everything. And it's just CGI goopity goop. And I'm so tired of seeing that. One of the best Spider-Man movies is still that of Sam Raimi, where he actually had a person on wires swinging around. Now, with all the Spider-Man stuff you see, it's all CGI. Now, I get it. There were some scenes in those original Spider-Man that was a CGI, like the last swing of the movie. Those are always CGI. And I love those last swings. But even the one in like No Way Home, it just looked like CGI goopity goop. And his last swing was so weird. It's like he never swung before. And what are they trying to say? Now he becomes Spider-Man instead of Iron Man Jr.? Speaking of Iron Man, yeah, in the first movie, Robert wore like a practical suit. And they only used CGI for like the flying and certain other scenes. But other than that, it was a practical suit. Then by like the third or one of those Avengers movies or some movie, he started wearing a CGI suit and it became very noticeable and everything. Same thing with War Machine. And once they realized they could tinker around and start making it look better, they started doing that. But even in like Avengers Infinity War, you can still tell that was a CGI suit. It just has that gloss to it. They can't get past the gloss. And it's not even superhero crap. Actually, let me get a little bit more into superhero because I want to talk about capes. So in Batman v Superman, those were CGI capes. I was very shocked and surprised to see that. And I was very shocked to like see that, you know, because I remember Man of Steel, the cape never really flowed very realistically. Sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't. But whenever he's like flying around, it's a CGI cape. And Batman v Superman, a lot of times it was just like when he was fighting around, it was a CGI cape. I'm like, why did you go the CGI route? In older Batman movies, they have their cape attached to them and they fight and they take scene after scene or whatever they have to do. Now, CGI in movies is nothing new. It's been done since the beginning, almost of time, even back in the old days when they could barely do stuff. But like, I remember one of the first times I saw it was actually Batman Forever. That scene in the beginning when he's swinging around on that chain in the helicopter and it goes into the Eiffel Tower, that was all CGI and stuff. And they actually did a really good job the way they made it look real and stuff when he was swinging on that cable cord. And then I remember in the first Daredevil movie, the Ben Affleck thing, that's when they really started going CGI overboard. The movie was shot digitally. The people at Marvel said they want Daredevil to look the way he does in the comics. All black silhouette with like the red highlights. And they're all like, well, how the world are we going to do that? Because his leather suit is bright red. So they had to go in digitally and everything and make him darker looking. That's why it's so hard to see him in some shots. Because they tried to give that illusion of silhouette look and shadow look and stuff. And I remember in that movie, there was so much CGI in parts that it just didn't need to be. The blood dripping down from his mouth. The rose at the end of the movie, he drops the rose and off the building and it falls on the street. Now I get it. They wanted to be very artsy and show the movement and flow of like, the rose, and so I get that, and I'm okay with that. He wanted to be artsy, but now people are getting a little too artsy. Now, whenever smoke and fog is supposed to go somewhere, they want it to look magical. Not even in a magical type movie. It's just a regular type movie. They want the fog to look a certain way. They want fire to look a certain way. They want like paper to move around a certain way, and they use CGI. They even make CGI babies now. Yes, in some movie, who is that guy who voices Raccoon in Guardians of the Galaxy? That dude. He was in some military movie, and in the movie, he has a CGI baby in his hands. They had a CGI baby in one of those Twilight movies. And it's just kind of like you couldn't go out and find a real baby, or at least go to like a toy store and get a baby doll. Like, why did you need a CGI? And it always looks atrocious and everything. And don't even get me started on the mustache that like broke the world and everything from the Justice League movie. And I just think that nowadays, I get people want to be creative and artsy. Like, it's one thing if you have like a fantasy movie and your fantasy world has to look a certain way and you have to add CGI to a regular backdrop and stuff, that's fine. But at least film outside and add your CGI in later and stuff. Unless the lighting just can't do it and you have to do it on like a sound stage and stuff. But I think movies and TV shows, directors, and all these other people, they're too reliant on what's cheap and what's fast, and that is CGI. They no longer have the skills to make things practical and advance the practicality of the practical stuff because they're too reliant on the CGI. And we see how the people at Disney overwork their people in the VFX department to where their CGI always looks like crap when it comes out for a movie or a TV show. Those jackals in Moon Knight were atrocious and everything. And then they put these movies out like No Way Home and the VFX aren't even fixed. And then there's She-Hulk and everything, which, I still wish they just would have went the old school route and got like a tall woman to play like She-Hulk and everything and just paint her green or something, because she's not like the Hulk. She doesn't have like muscles on muscles on muscles. She's not a tank of a person. They could easily just put green makeup on a woman and just have that be that. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, if they were to fix the practicality and stuff of like suits, they probably could have made a convincing Hulk type suit, but they don't do that no more. I mean, look at superhero suit, like say on Titan. The Robin suit, the first one was not very good. And that's because people no longer make things practical no more. It was basically motocross like gear on like fabric and stuff, and it just looked terrible. Now the second Robin suit from Jason Todd looked pretty cool, but it still wasn't great. It was no Nightman suit, you know what I'm saying, or a Batman suit from the movies. And it's just weird how all that stuff looks. It's literally leather or fabric attached to like motocross gear. And that's because nobody's practicing the art of practicality no more. And it's quite a shame. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.